Hello there, Leo. Thank you very much for stopping by for your monthly tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the month of May, and I am going to be breaking down this month into two segments. First will be May 15th that we'll look at, or 1st through the 15th, I should say. And then after that, we'll look at May the 16th through the 31st. Let's see what kind of cards are coming up for you, Leos. Okay, the first thing that we're going to look at talks to me about your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually it shows up as home, but sometimes it shows up as school or some other place where you have energy or effort invested. So you want to sort of have an open mind when you're hearing me talk about where this might be for you. Okay, so what I have with the environment is you may be going to a completely new environment during this time frame, or it may be that you're doing something completely new in the environment that you already have. You may be changing or upgrading and making something new in that environment, but there is this whole idea of fresh start of something coming up in your environment. Now, the next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about your subconscious leanings, and what we have showing up, Leo, is you are thinking about something that you've been putting a lot of energy and effort into. Maybe you've even put some of your finances into this, and you invested some part of yourself into something expecting that there would be a payback that would come back to you from this thing, or because you invested in this thing in one way or another. And on your mind is this idea of, well, wait a second, I haven't gotten the payback back as quickly as I thought I would. What should I really expect out of this deal? So sort of reevaluating, because that payback hasn't come back as quickly as you thought. You're reevaluating your stance with this situation. Do you want to keep investing in this? When is this payback really coming back to you? Is it coming back to you? Type of thing, okay? That's what's going on in your subconscious. Now let's look at learning style and communication style. I do feel like there is a lot of information coming to you during this time frame through meditation, and I do mean a lot of information and solid information. And if I'm not looking at meditation here, then this is straight up intuition, but this is through your divine connection, through your crown chakra, that you're getting a lot of this information right now. Now, as far as communication style, I think that you could be a little bit all over the place with your communication style right now, and I think that for some of you that's actually going to be intentional, but for others of you it's because you're trying to make up your mind about something and you're just not sure which side of the fence you're actually going to land on. So you may have a decision that you're trying to make, and your communication during this time might be that you're communicating with one party as if you're going to go forward with that option, and you're also communicating with another party as if you're going to go forward with that option, because you just haven't made up your mind yet and you don't want to close off the door to either one of those, or to however many of those you have right now. And so the communication is a little bit split, is what I'm going to say. I think you're giving about the same amount of communication to both options, or however many options there are. I think, though, that this is the reason you're doing this is because you just haven't made a decision about what you want to prioritize and move forward with just yet. And I think you're just basically trying to buy yourself some time until you can do that. Now, the next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about work. And it looks like with work, you're basically doing something to stand your ground or hold your ground here, okay? So, you know, if you've been in an industry that has been hit hard with the whole COVID, social distancing, mask, you know, not being out in public in a place where you can be close together, this could be you, you know, sort of coming back to work, coming back to existence, and just basically doing what you can to hold on to that job, that business, to sort of keep the wolves at bay type of thing. So this is holding your ground. If you have a lot of people that you are in competition with, this could be holding your ground in that way as well, where you're just holding your position, holding your ground, and really fighting off the competition, or keeping away anything that would interfere with you being able to hold that ground when it comes to work. Okay. Next thing that we have showing up does talk to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded as we go through this time frame, Leos. I think that there's somebody that maybe you were collaborating with in the past, and I think you're deciding that you're better off going it alone than you are collaborating with this person. And so I think that you are disconnecting those ties to be able to move forward in a more self-sufficient type of way. Now, next thing I'm looking at, Leos, does talk to me about something that you stand for during this time frame. This is a position that's influenced by Mars, which means that in the correct situation, you could be standing for this pretty assertively or possibly even aggressively, just kind of depending. So this is going to be something that somebody has asked you to explain to them, or maybe they've even confronted you about. And so you've had to explain this or stand up for this thing. Okay, so we're going to look at what it is that you're standing for, and we're also going to look at how that other person sees you after you've had a conversation about whatever this is that you're standing for. Now, it looks like you have been doing some kind of research, looking for information, digging for information in some way or another. Okay, this could also even be my stalking card. Technically, I would like to think that most of you watching this video are not going to be all-out stalkers, but I can't honestly look at this card and say that I'm necessarily feeling like you're not either. Okay, so this is definitely digging for information. Okay, and somebody has asked you about this, and you've had to stand up for yourself for this. And how this other person sees you after you've stood up for this idea that you've been digging for information is they see you as somebody who is very self-sufficient, very independent. They see you as somebody who is not going to lean on somebody else to get your information. You're not going to drag on somebody else's coattails. You're going to be taking things into hand yourself. That's how they see you. Okay? I'm also hearing that there is a grudging respect for you. So even though it's grudging, it's still respect. I feel like they have a new respect for you too after you've talked about this situation. They understand a little bit more about why you've been digging for this information, and they can see exactly why you would do that. And yeah, so they have a new respect for you. Let's just leave it there. All right, so next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about that lesson or that experience of this particular time frame. And this lesson or experience just really is the idea that you're opening your eyes up to all the different options there are around you to improve your life. And it feels like you maybe couldn't see this before, or maybe didn't see this before because you were really focused on what was in front of you. I think now that you're no longer collaborating with whoever it was you're collaborating with before, now you're seeing all kinds of new options about things that you can do to improve your life. And so that's the experience that you're having right now. And as you are sorting out all of these options, it really looks like you're coming to a point where you're realizing how unhappy you were with the last situation where you were collaborating with somebody else. And so you're starting to understand, well, I know this is not what I want, which means that what I do want is probably more the other side of that coin type of thing. So starting to sort things out about what it is you actually want. And we do see you making some good decisions, some nice solid decisions that I don't think you're second guessing as you move forward. And so I like to see, decisiveness is always something that helps us to progress. And then once we get to the end of this particular time frame, I do see a card here that talks about facing some kind of some kind of disappointment. And so for me, I'm not sure where that would tie in because you've really got some good momentum going. So I really feel like whatever this disappointment is, it's almost like it's in a a little bit of a different area than where all the successes are that you're having, that you've got this little bit of disappointment coming up. And so I feel like where you've got a lot of forward progress, I feel like this is a different topic that we're talking about, a different part of your life, not where all that forward progress is, but there's some kind of disappointment that you do that does sort of factor in that you have to come to peace with or figure out how you're going to overcome once we get to the end of this particular life cycle or this particular time frame. And then, maybe we will see more about that in the next time frame about what you're doing to overcome whatever this disappointment is. We can only hope, right? Okay, well, thank you very much for being here, Leos. I'm going to take a little break to rest my voice, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the second part of May. See you in a second. Hello again, Leo. We are back to look at May 16th through the 31st. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for putting a thumbs up on this video if you're getting anything out of it. And thank you for sharing this video with others who may get something out of it as well. Of course, thank you to all of you for commenting as well and for ordering private readings with me or private Reiki sessions with me. I appreciate all of your support. Let's get some cards on the table and see what's coming up for you guys. Okay, Leos, the first thing that we're looking at does talk to me about your environment. Remember, your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. And what I'm seeing is that your environment has gone through a period of utter chaos. I wasn't going to say utter. That was a word that Spirit just kind of nudged in me. But your environment has gone through a space of utter chaos, and it's calming down now. It's starting to get more organized and more focused. So it's starting to become an environment that is more smooth and more organized, are the words that I'm hearing. Next thing that we're looking at for you, Leos, is your subconscious leanings. And it looks to me like there is an element where you are ready to take control of some particular point in your life. And your subconscious is really looking at, okay, I do want to take control of some portion of my life. How do I go about that? What does that look like? Once I have established my control in that portion of my life, then what do I do with it? All right, so the next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about learning style and also communication style. It does look to me like somebody has given you some kind of information, and I think you're viewing this as a gift. Maybe somebody has gifted you textbooks. Maybe somebody has gifted you a class or a seminar. Maybe somebody has just given you an amazing nugget of advice. But there's some kind of gift that is something that you're grateful for, some kind of information that you're finding out that you are really grateful to have this information. As far as your communication style, I do feel like you're doing a lot of communication. Now, I don't want to say that. I feel like you're communicating with a lot of people at the same time. You may be doing some type of public speaking, or maybe you're going online and having a seminar online, but it just feels to me like there is communication that you are making during this time frame, Leo, that is going out to the public. Maybe you're doing a podcast, maybe you're sending out a newsletter, maybe you're doing some kind of public speaking engagement or appearing on TV, but some kind of speaking that takes your words out into the public. Some type of communication, I should say. Anyway, next thing that we're looking at, Leos, has to do with your work during this time frame. It looks to me like work is feeling a little bit disappointing. I think, first of all, you could be making more money than you are, and I think that's the first thing that you're feeling. But also, it feels to me like you kind of feel like you're being like left out of the clique or left out of the crowd, or sort of being pushed to the side at work. And so, this is one of those things that, like, when you get a reading ahead of time, you get it ahead of time so that you can make some changes. So if you see this energy kind of coming in, then you want to do things a little bit differently than what you normally would, just to sort of head this off at the pass and make sure that this is not something that you're actually experiencing, and that if it's something that doesn't change, then you want to at least change yourself and your perspective on it so that the impact it has on your life is not that great. Okay, so next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about that part of your personality that's growing or expanding as we go through this time frame, Leos. It does look like you're going back to something that you had left before, and the reason you left it before was because it was making you feel depleted, like it just wasn't giving you enough energy back for all the energy you were pouring into it. Many times for me, this shows up as a relationship or an employment situation, so it could be coming through either way for you, Leos. I really am not finding one side heavier than the other, so we've probably got about a 50-50 mix here. But going back to something that made you feel depleted before, hopefully if you're going back, there's some reason to expect that it's not going to do that to you again this time around. Next thing we're going to look at are those things that you stand for. So once again, just like last time frame, this is going to be something that somebody has asked you to explain or has confronted you about. So we're going to look at what you're standing for, and we're also going to look at how the other person sees you after you've had your conversation or confrontation, however that plays out in your life. So what are you standing for? There is a situation or a person that you used to really enjoy, and lately you're just not so much anymore. They just, whatever was going on now, it's just not tripping your trigger anymore. And once you've had this conversation with somebody else, how they see you as somebody who is, they're seeing you as somebody who is not paying so much attention to feelings, that you're just kind of looking at this in a cold way, and they're seeing you as somebody who is willing to cut somebody out or cut somebody off or to stop doing whatever this is that no longer is enjoyable. So they're seeing you as somebody who really has no qualms with taking something that you used to enjoy that you no longer enjoy and just cutting it out of your life. Just don't need that anymore. That's how they see you. Okay? Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about the lesson or experience for this particular time frame. And what we have coming up here is really complete confusion. This is a type of confusion where you are looking at some kind of situation and you really don't even know if it's a good situation or a bad situation. You don't know what people's intentions are. You just really are looking at the situation and you're just kind of lost. Every time you think you understand what's going on, then something else happens and you're like, oh wait, that has implications that change everything here. And so there's, like I said, there's just this great confusion around something going on in your life. By the way, great time to get a reading, just saying. And I would be honored if you would choose me as your reader to help you sort out this so that it's not so confusing. But anyway, let's go on with the general reading here. So at the same time that you're figuring out how you're going to deal with all this confusion, it looks to me like there are some things that are sort of falling through the cracks. You know, you've got a lot on your plate. You're trying to keep everything going. You're trying to pay as much attention to everything as it all needs. But I think partly because of this confusion, there are situations now in your life that you're not quite sure how you want to handle because of this confusion. And so things are falling through the cracks just because you're not able to figure out, okay, what way do I want to go with this? And so they're just getting dropped. Now, also at the same time, I feel like there's kind of this energy coming in, Leo, of, oh my gosh, this is the way things used to be for me. This is the way things were in the past, and I wasn't so happy with them. What am I going to do to turn this around? So I see you really, I don't think you're oblivious to the confusion. I think you're recognizing, number one, the confusion. You're also recognizing, I don't know why I can't say recognizing the impact that it's having on your life. And I think it feels to me, and this is the first time I've really had this feeling come at me from the cards, but it feels to me like it's sending you into a little bit of a panic. And what I want to tell you is, don't let this freak you out. Don't let this panic you. Just because you're confused right now is no reason to panic. This is the time to just really zen down and focus and really get the facts together and figure things out. It's not the time to panic. This is not the past times. This is a new time. You have leveled up since the last time that you felt like this. And so it's time for you to step up to the plate now, level up now, act like that new leveled up person that you are now, and really focus on, okay, how do I find the solution for this? How do I find the information that I need? And really focus in on finding that solution. But don't panic because it feels like something felt in the past. That's not going to help you. Do something that's going to help you. Okay? And then where we see you at the end of this month, Leo, is actually pretty good. This is a point where you're receiving payback from somebody from something that you have done before. So as long as you have planted good seed before, then you're getting some good fruit back. If you loan somebody some money, maybe they're bringing that money back to you. You know, if you introduce somebody to someone who is key to them, maybe they are doing something nice for you. If you let somebody stay with them when they were down on their luck at some point, maybe that person is able to help you now. But there's some type of evening of the scales where somebody is paying you back for something that you've done for them before in the past. So that is really nice because it tells me that there is help there for you, there's support there for you, there's encouragement there for you. So, you know, even though you're going through this time where there's confusion, you're not alone. There are people there to help you through it. So just focus on the solution, focus on getting the information so that you're not confused, and then, you know, that allows you to make some really solid decisions moving forward. Okay, so that's what we've got for you, Leo. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for all your support for me, everybody. And you guys have a fantastic month. If I don't see you back here before then in a private, then I'll see you guys back on the next video. Peace out.